What is going on YouTube? This is Jake here with Civilian Jeeps, and today we're going to be going over the Auxbeam 8-gang switch panel. This is the RGB model, and it's also app controlled. So this is their newest one, and I think it's going to be something beneficial for you guys to check out, especially if you're looking for a switch panel. I have another video on my channel of the Night Rider switch panel that I installed about 2 years ago now, and it's been okay. It's worked, but I can already tell from just looking at this one, this is going to be a lot better switch panel, and I think it's going to be a great upgrade for my CJ7 here. So this video I'm going to go over the features, and we're going to go over, this what it can and cannot do, but I'm not really going to make an install video. I'll show you like how I installed it, but it's not going to be like step by step because that's going to change depending on what model of vehicle you have. So let's go ahead and dive right into the unboxing of this. Alrighty, so here's the box. I'm not going to fault Auxbeam because I'm sure it was FedEx or UPS, whoever delivered this, but there is looks like it has been dropped in shipping, but that's not going to affect the actual operation of the switch panel. So you can see this is it. This is an 8-gang, and you can change any color you want on it, and if you have the app, this is what you're going to find when you open it up. Here's the instruction manual. Here's the 60-piece. There's some of the ones that you have on there. There's a 60-piece sticker set. This is their latest and greatest control module. It's pretty neat the way they have it. I'll go over a little more in detail later. But that is a lot better than the switch panels that I'm used to. That's a lot thinner than the one that I currently have. This is the actual control panel for the switches that the stickers go on. It's got a great construction to it. I mean, it's not plastic like my other one is. This is actual aluminum, it feels like, and that's quite nice. The only thing that I've taken out already is the actual mount for the panel. I've been kind of sliding it around where I want to mount it in the Jeep. But here's some wiring, here's some nuts and bolts. Here's the actual switch, the 60 amp for the on-off for the main board, which is nice. A lot of them don't come with a master switch, so I like that a lot, but I'm not going to dive in too much on the actual unboxing because it's kind of boring, to be completely honest. But here's the actual instructions. They're quite nice. Just from glancing through the instructions, I found out that this switch panel is an 8-gang. It has a toggle mode where it's on-off depending on how you have it wired up. Depends on if it's with the ignition or to the battery. There's momentary, which basically when you have your finger on it, the light will be on. You take it off, the light will go off. You have to have your finger on it though. And then there's strobe mode, and strobe mode is going to be whenever you actually click it, the lights will start flashing crazy. So if you've ever been to a Jeep event and you've seen big JKs and JLs with light strobing, that's pretty much what you're going to see. It's probably being controlled by the switch panel. Like I've mentioned before, it's red, green, blue, Bluetooth controlled. There's a button in the middle here for all on, all off. I'll show you that once I actually get it wired up. There's solid state relays and fuses inside this box instead of the big ones. That's what makes it such a slim design, because it uses solid state relays all through there to actually control everything, which is very nice. It's waterproof. Well, I would consider it water resistant, to be honest. It's IP65. So there's a quick connect for the auxiliary wires. What I mean by that is when you strip them, you don't have to worry about any special connectors like waterproof connectors to wire in, all that good stuff. You just stick it down in there and then you screw it down. It's quite nice. There's a group light feature, meaning if you have lights like windshield lights, bumper lights here, and you want to group those together, if you hit this, both of them will come on, or if you hit this one, both of them will come on. That is a feature that I feel like my other switch panel, I wish it had. There's the 12 volt max power rating at 720 watts, and the max amperage for this is going to be 60. So you can see right there on the actual switch, it's upside down, but you can see that it's 60 amps for that. Alright, so now that we've unboxed it and got it all laid out, I'm going to go ahead and install this into the Jeep, and then I'll go over, how I did it and some of the features of this. So it's been a little while, but I did get it installed. One of the hardest things was honestly taking my old switch panel out, and the wiring on it was just, I had wires everywhere because it wasn't a two-sided panel like this one where you have the ground and the positive. I had to put my ground somewhere else. So really tracking down the wires to wire it back into this panel was one of the hardest parts, which you guys won't even have to worry about that unless you got another panel and the same headache I had. But anyway, if you're wondering how to wire this thing, I'm going to link in the description a video from Auxbeam on how to wire it. And it's a good video, it's simplistic, anybody can do this, but there is a few key things I want to show you. So this is where I mounted my panel, and at first I just flush mounted it without this bracket right here. And the bracket serves its purpose because right here, this is a lip that it creates. It's not very much, it's maybe about that big, but it lets the wires go out under that little slit right there, which you really need that, because before when I just flush mounted it, I didn't have the lip, so my wires couldn't come out, and there's not a hole in the cap to be able to run the wires out through. They wanted the cap to be sealed. So you need to use some type of mounting bracket to make a lip on it to get the wires out. Now, as you can see, I mean, you go all the way from 5 to 10, 20, and 30 amps. I've got my existing lights for the windshield, are the only ones I have hooked up at the moment. I've got them on a 20 amp, that'll serve its purpose. And the other Auxbeam lights that I'm going to be wiring up in the next video are going to be on a 20 amp as well. So, this wire right here is going to be the wire for the actual ignition. That I run to my fuel pump because the wire is relatively short, and my fuse panel is all the way over there inside the Jeep. So I just ran that wire to the fuel pump and it works out fine. It's an ignition hot. The one right behind it that's got like the covering on it, it's the switch panel. The switch panel wire, which you would need to go behind your firewall like I did here into the Jeep to be able to get to that. And this one right here on the far left is going to be your hot, and this one right here is going to be your ground. So the circuit breaker right here is the only thing that I'm kind of frustrated about. I didn't have enough wiring to put this where I wanted. I wanted to put it over here and just self tap that into the firewall, and then go over here and hook that up to the hot. But because I didn't have enough wire, I had to just put it like this for the time being. Yeah, I can buy more wire, and that's what I'm going to do to eventually put it over here, a little cleaner install. But disregard the messy wires at the moment. I have a bus box that I'm going to be cleaning all this up with one day. That's going to be another video later on down the road. But I am really happy with how this turned out. It's a lot cleaner than the other one that I had. And this is the switch panel. I really don't have any stickers on it yet, but that's where I have it. My old one is mounted down here, and I didn't much care for that because I couldn't actually see what I was clicking. I just had to click on it just based upon memory and hope it was the right button. But this one, where it swivels, it's got its own little bracket. I swiveled it up to where I can actually see it, and it's really nice. I like the aluminum housing on it, and the buttons feel really good as well. So now I'm inside the Jeep and I've got my phone out, and I went ahead and connected to it. But to do that, you go up here to the little Bluetooth icon and it'll say connected. Full focus. Sorry, I don't think the camera's going to focus, but anyway, it says connected. And there's also the disconnect. If you want to disconnect from it, hit back. You can see on the RGB color wheel here, whatever you select will come up on your controller. Now, the only one I've got so far is the windshield. So if you want to, you can go down here to where it says icon, and you can choose what icons you want to be displayed on the app. You can also do your own photos from your photo album, which, I mean, I don't plan on doing anything like that. But one cool thing I think is the mode. You can toggle it where I've got the windshield one right here. This one right here is my windshield. I got it selected. Right now I've got it on toggle, so when I hit the switch it stays on until I hit the switch again to turn it off. Let's put it on momentary and see what happens. So if my finger is on the switch, it'll come on. So that would be great for like a horn. I don't really know what else it would be besides a horn, but that is a cool feature that it has that. My other switch panel did not. So let's put it on pulse, which is also strobe. And let's click on windshield. And now it's strobing. This would be great because I work construction. I don't drive this Jeep construction wise, but if I was to get one of these for my truck, I could put just regular lights as strobe lights for the construction lights. So that would be a cool feature if you're in that type of field, but I'm going to leave mine on toggle. The other thing is group. you can group the lights together. And if I was to have my other ones on the bumper hooked up to this one, if I group these two together, that means if I hit this one, that both of these would come on. So one thing I did want to mention is when I have the windshield on, right now I've got it on toggle mode, windshield on, if I hit this button here, it'll turn it off. See? And no matter if I had this one on, let's turn it back on, this one pops back up. If I have this one on, this one on, this one on, no matter what it is, hit this middle button right here and they'll all go off. And then hit the button again and they'll all come back on. So that's really neat. It also has a sensor right here that, you know how higher end radios will actually sense the light and it'll auto dim? This panel will auto dim depending on the amount of light that's inside the vehicle, which is extremely nice because my other one would get bright at night, but during the day I'd like it to be bright, but it wasn't easy to adjust. So I feel like that's a great feature that I'm glad they put in. So it's nighttime and I'm sitting in the middle of my field, and one thing I will mention is the Bluetooth on this connects up extremely quick if you've had it connected before, which is really nice. But I do want to show you something. I feel like I didn't get to show you the group thing very well. So when you go down here to group, I want to group this light and this light together. So say edit group, you have entered group mode, please select 2 or more buttons to combine to a group function. I want to turn this light on and this light on at the same time. And it puts little check marks down there, which I don't think you can see, but it'll put a check mark in the bottom corner whenever you've selected that group. So I'm going to hit save. Let's just say in the name we'll put all lights. Hit save. Now what I'm going to do is whenever I go down here, just say windshield, it'll turn both of them on. That's the windshield lights and the amber lights, the fog driving lights as well. So hit that, turn it off, hit that, turn it on. So basically it combines one button to do both functions for that light. Like I feel like that's one of the coolest features of this switch panel. So overall, I'm extremely pleased with this Auxbeam product. It's leagues ahead of the Night Rider switch panel that I had installed in this Jeep previously. Now this Auxbeam product is about $250, but it's an 8-gang, which is nice. Comparable would be like an S-Pod, which would be double the price. And honestly, I think the build quality is pretty close to the S-Pod. So the Night Rider that I had before though was I think a little over $100, and it's plastic and it's nowhere near as nice as the quality of this one. So I would much rather pay a double for the quality of Auxbeam than the Night Rider that I had. Now if you would like to see these cubes behind me, both the amber and the clear, I'm going to be installing those next, and they're Auxbeam products as well. So I'm curious to see what the quality of those are going to be like. So if you'd like to see that, stay tuned for the next video. And I'm going to close out here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a comment in the description below if I can help you out. Now in the description below, I'll also have the wiring for this, like I mentioned, and the actual Auxbeam website. I'm going to put that below as well. So leave a comment if you'd like to know anything, and you know, when it comes to Jeeps, keep it classy.